let me tell you a story. A story that is 91 years of unrivaled resilience and endurance. It's about a motorcycle that has stood the test of time without losing its essential DNA. It is the longest running motorcycle model in production anywhere in the world. Experience the Bullet story. Motorcycle design advanced at pace through the 1920s into the 1930s. Because cars were so expensive, motorcycles were hugely popular. Whether you rode them solo to go to work, attached a family sidecar so you could take your family away for trips at weekends, or a box sidecar that could carry the tools of your trade. Motorcycles had to be very versatile, and that was certainly the case with the Bullet when it was introduced in September 1932 in 250, 350 and 500cc engine sizes. Bullets were a thoroughly modern design. The 4-valve cylinder head on the 500 Bullet meant that it could actually achieve 90 miles an hour straight off the production line. Bullets also had a really revolutionary center stand that doubled up as a prop stand, and a 4-speed foot change gearbox. Nearly every other single motorcycle at this time had an old-fashioned hand change gearbox. One of the most significant milestones in the lifetime of the Bullet was in 1948, the invention of Royal Enfield's groundbreaking swinging arm rear suspension. No other manufacturer had built a bike like this before for full production use, and the rest of the world followed. Not only did it give the rider cushion comfort, it gave great adhesion and traction off-road, which meant that the Bullet was superb in trials competitions, which then gave riders the confidence to buy this machine when it was launched as a roadster. It wasn't until 1950 that Royal Enfield got its star rider, Johnny Britton. Johnny won every single competition going. The Scott Trial, the British Experts Trial, the incredibly tough Scottish 6 Days Trial, which he won twice, the ISDT, known as the Olympics of motorcycling. He picked up 13 gold medals, and it was undoubtedly this off-road prowess of the Bullet that first attracted the Indian Army to want to use it to patrol its borderline. The first 500 Bullets ordered by the Indian Army arrived in Bombay at the beginning of 1952. And because they needed to be deployed immediately, they were already run in. Day and night for weeks, Redditch factory workers had been roaring round the streets of Redditch to make the engines seize-proof. Their success in this role directly led to the formation of Enfield India and the opening of the first factory at Tiruvottia in Madras at the end of 1955. This beautifully and faithfully restored 1955 Indian Army Bullet holds a very special place in Royal Enfield's history. Looking up its frame and engine numbers, it is the very last motorcycle from the very last batch that was shipped to Madras Motors. The next batch of CKD Bullets to arrive in India was sent to Enfield, India. The 1960s and the 1970s, there was very little change to the Bullet, except for a switch to alternator and coil ignition electrics. As for colours, it could be any colour you wanted, as long as it was black. The Indian Armed Forces have several motorcycle display teams which ride bullets. They're used at Independence Day and Republic Day parades, and they perform acrobatic displays all over the country on them. The Tornadoes is made up from personnel of the Army Service Corps. And in 2017, they set a Guinness World Record for the most number of people on a motorcycle. From the late 1970s and then into the 1980s, bullets became more colourful, like this gorgeous deluxe model, and the Superstar. Also, bullets began to be exported, first to the United Kingdom, where it had originated, and then to many other countries around the world. So now, it had gone full circle. The bullet had first been imported into India, and now India was sending this motorcycle out to the world, where classic motorcycle enthusiasts loved it for its old-school charm. And that was especially the case towards the end of the decade, when the Bullet 500 was introduced. Eicher Motors took over Enfield, India in 1994 and rapidly made the decision to stop producing all the other lightweight motorcycles that supported the Bullet and concentrate on the mid-size motorcycle segment, which meant the 350 and 500 Bullet. Until this point, the Bullet had been a workhorse. It had been a motorcycle that you used for a purpose, to commute, on your farm, for business. But by the mid-1990s, and especially after riders had gone on the Himalayan Odyssey, it became a motorcycle that you could also use for pleasure, for touring, and for adventure. At the turn of the century, the Bullet received a couple of major upgrades to keep it relevant for a new generation of riders. 2001 came the first Bullet with an electric starter. And then in 2005, Royal Enfield celebrated its 50th anniversary in India, and this Electra, with its more fresh and modern paint scheme, came out as a special anniversary edition of the Bullet. Royal Enfield introduced its seminal unit construction engine in 2008, which was a major step forward for Royal Enfield. It had truckoid oil pumps, hydraulic valve lifters, a 7-plate wet clutch, and an automatic primary chain tensioner. However, it still retained Royal Enfield's signature thump. Towards the end of the decade, 2019, that UCE engine was employed in the Bullet Trials Works replica, an homage to Johnny Britain's all-conquering trials motorcycles of the 1950s. 91 years of the Bullet means that there are so many legends, and that's especially the case when it comes to motorcycle travel. The Bullet's simplicity, ruggedness, ease of maintenance, and because of its trials heritage, its ability to go over tough terrain, have made it a trusted companion to these adventurers. And now we have the Bullet moving on to the new J-platform engine, which is super smooth thanks to its balancer shaft, and has proved so successful. And now the Bullet gets to enjoy it. The very first Bullets in 1932 were pinstriped by hand. When the Bullet came to India, that tradition continued. The ingredients of the paint is their family secret. They then use their artistry, with the Madras pinstripes, and that is their gift, not just to Royal Enfield, but to every single rider of a Bullet. The mighty Royal Enfield Bullet, born in England 91 years ago, went around the world, found its home in India, where it became an icon, and now in 2023 carries that legacy forward with a new heart, but with the same beat.